It's time to celebrate. It's officially the end of Big Brother 22, and this finale didn't disappoint me. Cheers, mother effers.
Hey guys,
Welcome back.
it's finale night, and let's just start out with the big reveal of Cody being
won.
the first player in Big Brother US to have played a perfect game, I believe, because Derek, Paul, I believe those are the only other two that have never been nominated and made it to Final Two. However, they had been...
They didn't pregame.
They didn't... Paul, when he made it to Final Two, did not win. Derek made it to Final Two, was never nominated, but he did not get a unanimous vote. Cody is the only person to receive a unanimous vote, never be nominated, never have any votes against him, and he has tied with Paul and Janelle with 9 competition wins in a single season.
Don't you dare disrespect Jamie like that.
I'm sorry.
You should be.
We just looked at the record, so I'm just trying to remember.
My thing is, yes, and I want to give him all the credit in the world. I really do, especially for cutting Nicole.
In my opinion,
Cutting Nicole like that, because I am not pressed, but the queen is, and I'm just saying. Either way, she was blindsided, and it was beautiful. It was a great moment. I thoroughly enjoyed it. That locked me down to have a great night. I was like, oh, there is a God. He is good. He is good.
Especially them playing up the whole fact that Enzo was like going home, that he, you guys are taking yourself to Final Two. It's fine,
edit. I'm not mad at it.
You won. You did it in 4 minutes. I said 13. That's it, man. That's it.
Yo. But my thing is
that
I
solidified...
can't give him the full credit because of the immense pre-gaming. Did he still do, good shit? Cutting Nicole, was that great? Yes. Do I think that was still part of his ultimate plan? Yeah. Do I think Nicole knew? No. And I think that was a big part of the plan.
Yeah.
And it was executed correctly. But I cannot hold him to the fullest extent up there that he could potentially be held up there to because of what I actually know.
True, but one thing I will say now is that every other person had an opportunity to pregame. However, it was not orchestrated the way it was for Cody and Nicole by Derek. That's the one thing that is holding me back from giving him full all-star level, because definitely he has solidified himself as an all-star.
Nominated, for sure.
He is the first person in the US seasons of Big Brother to play a perfect game. The only other person to do that was someone on a particular season of Big Brother Canada. I'm not going to spoil it. But the pre-gaming, it just was kind of a constant, smudge on
of just
the season.
Knowing that, there was things that were put into place that weren't going to change. Even if it was a normal season, it could have changed. Even if it was half the pre-gaming, maybe someone could have been swayed. But because we believed that there were certain agreements, certain understandings of splitting certain things, there were things put in place that made it that people would not waver. Mm-hmm. It didn't matter if it was going to sink their whole ship. They were not going to waver, because what I agreed to outside of this house was contracted, signed down. So there was no chance to change anything. And that's different. I've never seen that before. Yes, I didn't watch season 7 when it premiered. No, I wasn't there for that, but I've heard about it. It's not the same.
Yeah. Let's explain that one thing that Jolene covered, who is another YouTuber who covers Big Brother.
We love.
She mentioned and kind of articulated more what I was thinking. It made sense for me that All-Stars, every single person who was pre-gaming and whatnot had pretty much an equal chance of being put on the show, and they also weren't orchestrating anything for anyone else besides themselves and maybe a few other people. Like obviously
with
Will and
them.
Boogie. I know Danielle and James were really tight in pre-gaming.
And obviously, like, all of season 6.
Yeah, and I know, like, the season 6 people, the
and then
season
the
5
Jason,
people.
Diane.
Jace, Diane, and Nokomis had an alliance. Everyone had alliances with everyone. So it evened out because everyone was doing it. Except for, I think, Howie and Danielle were the only ones that didn't really participate. James, like, pre-gamed with Danielle. It wasn't, like, an equal road. James, I believe, called Danielle and was like...
to her, but her and Howie were both like, I'm not reaching contract.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't do it. Although, apparently...
But they at least knew it was happening and going on.
And also, it was a live vote out of a pool of people to go into the house the night of. Yes, I'm sure people had a great idea.
It was probably predetermined.
And pretty predetermined. But for the most part, everyone on that stage had a chance, but they didn't all go in.
Yeah.
It was not announced to us right away who was going in, but they knew who was going to sequester at the point that they were going there. And then there were some upsets based on... Well, they say it didn't happen, but we all know. Basically based on positive corona tests that switched up some things and had replacement people. But
mainly being Josh and Casey.
But for the most part, it was really... They knew who was going in. And the biggest thing is what Jolene said was that the difference was Derek isn't in the house.
Derek and Dan, for that matter, knew for a fact they were not going to go on for a 3-month season. They knew for a fact that this was never going to be a thing that they were going to do. Yet they took the opportunity, and this is mainly on Derek.
Yeah, Derek did it harder, but you can't leave Dan out. He did participate. Not to the fullest extent, but, he participated.
They orchestrated, pre-game alliances and agreements. It's no surprise that Memphis and Cody just automatically were, like, talking about a Final 2, like, within the first, like, few days.
That was not decided then. That was decided
and here's my thing
before.
That James has mentioned, James Ryan from season 6 and 7. The thing
Who is an all-star. Okay,
yes.
He could have should have been called back. I don't know if he heard anything. I don't think he did, but
I think Big Brother kind of severed the relationship.
I know,
with him.
but just like Zach from season 16, one of the only people I would have wanted to see back.
But I'm pretty sure Zach got asked back and he said no.
I don't know if he got asked because I heard Jolene once again was saying that he kind of just... Not that he was, like, messed up about it, but he sort of leaked out things about production, so CBS is kind of, like, not messing with him, because he opened his mouth too much about stuff. It wasn't bad stuff, but it was just...
But it wasn't about that, because I knew about that, and he did say stuff, but he was still asked back, I believe, even with that. Because he's just
such a personality.
Season 16, like, let's be real, when you think of season 16, you think of Zach, Frankie, Cody, and Derek.
Honestly, I didn't think of Cody till now. Honestly, I would have been like...
because they're in the final
Frankie,
2. Caleb.
And Derek. No, those would have been the... If you're going to say 3, those would have been the 3.
Entertainment-wise, is Frankie and Zach that season. They were the show, honestly. Like Derek wasn't very interesting in the diary rooms, which is one of his, like, downfalls of being, like, perceived well by the audience.
Yeah.
Cody was just kind of like another person. Caleb was like another person. Christine, Nicole, Donnie was like a fan favorite, but he got voted out like pretty early.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. But the thing that James Ryan said about pre-gaming is if they make it known to the audience that I believe it was something like related to the challenge. I have not seen the challenge, Jennifer has, but in something relation to outside relationships and summarizing it in like the first episode instead of the stupid biographies, talk about pre-gaming and say,
what Jolene was saying is break that fourth wall like Teen Mom does, where they show them talking to production and they just give you more of a like full circle view
picture
of everything.
And like if we
like it more.
If we see, because then I can respect it. They're treating us
like we're stupid, and then they're making a whole different narrative for casuals because they know there is that group. So that group gets a whole different story, and then it's like
it's why we can that can explain why Tyler got second in
that's casuals.
America's Favorite Player.
That is not people that watch feeds. A couple, the majority, absolutely not. Because I believe that he would even admit, I tried to quit and stuff. Like I don't deserve America's Favorite House Guest. Like I wasn't the most entertaining. I didn't even want to be there.
And he also already got second place. There's some people on this season of All Stars that had never won
anything
or gotten second place. But the thing is, if they do something where it's like, oh, this is a biography on Cody, and it's going to relate to Nicole, and it's going to relate to Danny, and like all these people. Like, so Cody, while you were outside of the house, what did you do? And Cody's like, well, I was having phone calls with Nicole about, going to the end and splitting the money. And this can be like a diary room where
even then,
he's
they
like,
don't say split the money because that's technically not legal.
But I'm talking about like absolutely everything.
Oh,
Like
if
say
they
like
allowed it?
I talked with every single person. I made sure I was cool with everybody. I made sure that I had final
Cody
twos
didn't
with
talk
at
to
least
everyone.
3
Derek
people.
talked to them for him and
No,
maybe phone called
I'm
him.
not talking about Cody. I'm talking about like this as like a diary room where he can say, this is what I did to set myself up in this game. And then that can be the 10-minute segment instead of, oh, I lost to Derek because I took him and I thought loyalty was over friendship and like winning the game and like whatever. And apparently that didn't ring true this season. Which I think was the point.
Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I think
that
was
his whole
dead plan the
his
whole
whole
time.
redemption arc of the first season, he stays true to his final two and brings him to final two with him and then loses. Whereas All Stars 2
was I can't make that same mistake.
He says he's going to do the exact same thing and then cuts his final two and he wins the game. A perfect game. It's the perfect arc.
For it. I lived for Nicole literally looking like it was time to put her in a mental institution. She was losing her mind.
The only thing comparable, in my opinion, and it's not even like the same.
She wanted to run off that stage. I know production was like in her ear, like, Nicole, calm down, Nicole, and she's like, no, cause Cody.
Diane getting cut by
She
Drew.
She lost it a little bit.
Diane getting cut by Drew,
but
Diane, I think, admitted that she was going to do the same. Or
she wasn't gonna beat Drew.
She wasn't gonna beat Drew. But I don't know if she
Drew
admitted.
would have beat Diane.
But that was like the first like ruthless like I'm evicting this person.
Yeah, I mean like we laid in bed together and blah blah blah, and I let her fall in love with me, but I'm gonna cut her.
And then season 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 I guess was kind of like a whatever, but like they couldn't really decide. It was 3 brigade members. 13 was Adam. 14 is like the only other. 14. How can you forget Rachel Riley's winning season?
No, not 13 then. What am I thinking about?
11?
Is it 9 or 11?
9 and 11 we don't talk about.
That's what I was going to say. I think those are the ones
I don't even think.
Forget.
I think the amount of people that have seen 9 is like way less than people who have watched Big Brother Over the Top, and that was purely online.
That's why I never saw it. We should watch that one. Did you ever actually watch it?
No.
Then we
and
should
I don't
watch
know
that
who
one
wins.
Too. Oh, I know who wins.
I know someone who makes it far, because I know Jason makes it far, but I know he doesn't
who
win.
Wins.
That was also the season going on during the presidential election.
I heard it was really good.
Over the Top premiered 4 years ago.
I was very pregnant with my daughter, so.
So one thing I will say is, Corey got.
Yes.
Corey. Nicole second.
A couple tries.
A couple guys. All respect to Nicole.
Shut up.
So here's what I want to say.
To Franzi.
Danielle, season 14, was like, I was very concerned for her because she looked like she wanted to like kill Dan, even though he didn't even cut her. It was Ian.
Yeah, but then the way she treated Ian at times in the house, though, that you showed me that I had never seen the live feed footage.
She's ridiculous, and she also
is a scary mess.
She also
She's a scary mess.
She said to. Or no, she convinced herself that like she had made Ian scared enough to take her. And then she found out that Dan was actually going to, if he won, he said, I don't know if this is just Dan being Dan, but he said that when he won the final HOH, he was going to say, not Nicole, Danielle, I've been your coach this whole time, and sometimes, you thought that the student was going to overtake the teacher, but you know what? No. You might want to turn around because that knife has been planted in your back since day one. I vote to evict you. It was something along those lines. It was going to be a brutal cut.
It would have been cool.
And then he lied about it to like try to get Danielle's vote, which he did. Where he was like, "Oh no, I was 100% gonna take you because you were my player." Yeah, and Danielle like begrudgingly voted Dan. Otherwise, it would have been unanimous.
Ian deserved a unanimous vote. No, I just like Ian.
Over Dan, though, I don't think.
No, I think it's pretty cool that he beat Dan. To be honest with you, because Dan,
that was
to
the
me,
ballsiest.
is definitely like a 2-time winner. Like the way he played.
See,
that's
Ian,
a 2-time winner, deserving of a 2-time.
I believe
winner.
Ian had made the riskiest decision going into Final 2 and then still winning. Because other people had made decisions like that, like Cody,
and didn't win.
Lost.
Yeah.
Like they chose Derek and then they lost. Yvette chose Maggie and lost.
I mean, where are
I don't think she would have beaten.
Where are the days of that?
No, actually, had Yvette taken Janelle, she would have won because she would have had all of the friendships votes.
She thinks she wouldn't have got them because she cut Maggie, but I still think they would have voted for her because they hated Janelle so much.
True.
And there was more of the friendship than there was of...
That was the only downfall of, like, their whole strategy was, like, cool, like, you guys made it to Final 2, but the fact that you guys made it to Final 2, and there's 4 sovereign 6 members in jury, so, like, what are you going to do about that? Because then it's up to... Because then it's up to the opposite alliance to choose.
Really decide who won.
Unless you just took the opposite alliance member, therefore you have the numbers in the jury, therefore you win. That would have been my thought as Yvette. But I guess, like, friendship was more important.
Whatever. But
Maggie's, like, the least deserving winner, in my opinion. Like, she did nothing. Andy at least, like, owned his strategy and was able to articulate why he should win. Maggie was just like, I made sure that...
You don't like Josh as a winner.
I don't like Josh as a winner either. Josh and
Casey,
Maggie.
I don't like Casey as a winner.
Why the fuck Casey is on the kitchen on an all-star season is the biggest, like, shit mark on this season.
Okay, but you have to think about it this way. Technically, she's a winner. Like, why wasn't Maggie's face somewhere? They should have had all the winners in there. Maybe they did, but I never saw anything of, like, people that old.
Instead, it was, like, catering to all the new audience members of, like, the BB comics and whatever.
The boring stuff. But, yeah, so my favorite thing was Cody cutting Nicole, and was Nicole...
I was super shocked.
Trying to basically say, like...
And I feel like Nicole knew because she was already getting, like, really choked up and crying.
I think he told her.
I think he
told her to be nice. Like, he had to let her know, like, I'm about to cut you, I'm sorry. And that's why her speech was kind of like, I wasn't going to do that to you. Like, don't do it to me.
Yeah. It was definitely, like,
Enzo was like...
Because, I mean, up until that point, it was... Like,
100%.
You and I are, like, ride or die. Like, we are going to go to the finals. And then
Dan
finale night, she's, like,
Derek
freaking
really
out.
talked.
I'm like, he definitely had to have told her. Or he was acting weird.
Yeah. Couldn't hide it. I think he told her before. But, like, right before.
Yeah. And then, you know, some of the people... Oh, my God. We have to talk about the jury roundtable with Mr. David, All-Star, did use the power on me going... But what is jury management?
I almost peed my pants.
I don't even think David got to, like, say anything.
This shit was hilarious.
And, you know, I'm okay with that.
The comedy of it all. I mean, I'm going to put it this way. So what I just said to Scotty earlier is I was like, okay, the first episode, we were, like, excited. We were pumped. Like, possibilities were endless. Not really. We didn't know for sure, but we found out very shortly.
Although the first episode was a little bit of a weird one to start with because it did get right into the action and, like, the excitement for us when watching live feeds, like, literally the first night, which was
murdered,
which I don't think has ever happened before because normally they wait a week.
Yeah.
That was, like, incredible. And, like, we were like, oh, well, you know, the thing with Cody winning HOH, like, they didn't let him, like, stop the reset from Memphis's HOH, but, like, whatever, it's fine.
Well,
and then,
I mean, I was like, I'm not too worried about him. I was freaking wrong.
And then Keisha and Kevin get nominated, and I'm like,
oh,
why those two? Like, okay. And then, you know, Keisha's gone, and then Nicole Anthony's gone after she, like, self-implodes. Then Janelle's gone, and then Casey's gone.
Yeah, it was downhill.
Bailey, and I'm like, what? Like... Like, let me tell you, week 4, we thought for sure Bailey was gonna, like, be in, like, Final 4. Like, she was, like, on her way to to playing like a really good game. She
Shouldn't have said a
she had
couple
the
tries,
best.
a couple guys. Shouldn't have trusted Christmas.
She had the best, or one of the best social games besides Enzo in the house.
She was really killing
she
that
was,
shit.
She was really like trusting of like everyone.
She
like
was
people
like
were even
Enzo,
going
without being like corny about it. It was a similar thing to Enzo, the likability factor.
They were going through Bailey to talk like with Davon. Like that's how like much of a bridge she had with people, and like then like, you know, within a week she's evicted, and it's like, well, I guess anything could happen. But I just don't understand like how that even went down. Which is another thing that I'm mad about this season, is that they cherry pick and edit. Obviously they do it every season, but especially this season when we know stuff that's happening and they're purposely keeping it from us. The whole thing with Ian and Bailey, like the wall yellers, like all of that information, we just never got to know the full story. They never even brought it up,
and there was so much about it.
And acted like they didn't happen. Like, oh, turn off live feeds. It never happened.
We're like,
sorry.
No, it happened. But what I was saying is basically that first episode was like, okay, yes, I'm excited. And then the rest of it was
slowly less and less exciting. Until
I could have just stopped watching. And then this last, the finale, him cutting Nicole, I mean, to be honest with you, that like made me go, I don't want to say it, but it lightweight saved the season. Like I was kind of like, I want to shed tears of happiness. This is a beautiful moment.
I will say Cody is definitely the most deserving player.
At that point.
Player in Final 3. His arc of, you know, previously not winning and now he's winning. It's just so hard
because I still have to say disclosure, though, of all the pre-gaming that
but like,
helped him
we already know
tremendously.
that. We already know that.
But that's why I cannot just fully be like, yeah, you killed it. I just have to go like, you killed it, kind of, but you cheated. But you killed, but you cheated. So it's very hard for me to give it to him.
I don't know if I would call it cheating necessarily.
Cheating. It's cheating. It's cheating. Literally, Davon and Bailey talked about the fact that they got calls from Derek. They were nowhere near his season. They was not homies with Derek. They don't live nowhere near Derek. Derek wasn't going to be on the season.
Yeah,
why is Derek calling them?
No, but Dan did the same thing before season 14.
I didn't know that.
He apparently, James said that he got calls from Dan before season 14.
Oh, because they thought potentially they were going to go on?
Well, because the coaches didn't know who was going to be in the house.
Other coaches?
And same thing with season 18 with Davon, Frank, James,
and Nicole.
Oh,
they pre-gamed?
They didn't know. They didn't know who else was going to be there. They thought that they were, like, by themselves. Same thing with Paul. Paul said, like, oh, I thought there was going to be other people here. I didn't think it was going to just
because
be
they had
me.
never done the one, right? They'd always done multiple newbies.
Yeah.
Or multiple returners.
Yeah, so...
Interesting.
I mean, pre-gaming has always happened. I just feel like this was just the most well-known and the most, like, obvious and, like, in people's faces, like, they definitely pre-gamed and they're definitely, like...
They literally basically
and they didn't do anything.
Up talking about it. Like, literally.
Like, I'm mad. 75% of my level of being mad is at production for allowing it, and then 25% at the house guests for knowing it and not doing anything.
Not doing anything about it. I think they just really thought I can jump on that train, and like they didn't realize that they kind of couldn't.
Which is why I give Enzo so much credit, because he made it to Final 3 behind... I mean, Final 2. He made it in front of Nicole, the girl that was a part of the pre-gaming.
That was literally like basically handed at least Final 2, and then actually got Final 3. It's beautiful.
I thought for sure that Cody... I knew that Cody was probably going to win the final HOH and then just take Nicole. And I thought...
I really wanted to see him cut her, but I didn't believe it would happen.
Even if Nicole won the final HOH, I thought for sure she was going to take Cody.
Nope, I thought she was going to cut Cody. I'm really glad Enzo got Final 2. He deserves that $50,000 at least. That's gonna... He's got kids. The other two don't even have kids. Like... I'm sorry, I'm a mom.
And Nicole won $10,000.
Yeah, and she's won before. And they all get paid to go on there. Mm-hmm. And she's a previous winner going on there. I know they all got paid differently. Mm-hmm. She probably got... She's fine. Olay might come running back because now she's a sob story. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Either way, this is the wrap up for Big Brother 22. It's done. It is done. We wanted an all-star season so bad. We got it.
I will say...
Maybe we learned our lesson and we don't necessarily want it.
If I were to
want a Legends season. Yes. Whether it's full, short. I think short's the only way to get them, so it's probably going to have to be like a Celebrity Big Brother version.
Honestly, Celebrity Big Brother rocked.
I want legends. I would have loved to see the head on of like Dan and Derek not work together. I would want to see them. Who's good? Because
Will said.
I want to see real all-stars, not the all-stars understudies that get help from the all-stars. I want to see real all-stars. I want to see more, like, don't just put Janelle and Kaser in there as a big target together. That's not freaking fair. It wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. Because if there was at least one more person that was sort of aligned with them, like a Danielle Reyes possibility, or a James Ryan, which would have been great, or Howie, or something more in that realm where it evened it out slightly more and took a little less target on them. It was just
too uneven.
It would have given it more of a chance. I just wanted to see it longer. I didn't necessarily think they were going to win, but I wanted it to actually play out. I wanted to get to watch it, you know, and we didn't get to see it. So if it's a legend season, I want to see them, and I want to see old school. I don't want to see none of these, like, newbies that really aren't that good. Like, I don't want to see a Christmas. I don't want to see a Nicole F. She's a winner, but I don't even really count her as a winner because I think Paul should have won. Like, I don't, honestly, until Cody won, I didn't want to see a Cody. I didn't really care that much. I would have rather seen a Zach. I would have rather seen, even I think Frankie played a decent fucking game.
Frankie won a lot of competitions, and he was entertaining in the diary room, whether you like him or not, on, you know, outside of the house.
Or Frank. I loved Frank. I know he's come back before. Is he going to come back again? Probably
but Frank's
not,
season 14 compared to 18, like, even 18, like, he was killing competitions.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I want people like that. I don't want people like, and I love Davon, but I didn't necessarily want people that, like, really haven't made much of a mark, that are more just entertainment but aren't really players. I wanted players to cutthroat all each other, and I wanted it to be an all-out brawl, not the sausage bullshit fest that we got to see on half this freaking season, where everyone else just worked.
Just felt like a replay of season 16, which, like,
season 16 is like, God, it's the first season I ever watched, and I watched it after it aired. I got into this stuff late.
It's a great season for people who have never seen Big Brother, but it's not a good season of Big Brother.
You don't have any backstory on it. You've never seen live feed footage from it. Honestly, it's good. And you love Derek. I loved Derek. I was blown away. I was like, wow, this is good. I can't wait to watch another season, because that was interesting. Who else is good? But now that I know, and now that I've seen what Derek did this season, just everything, like, and just, I hate Nicole and Cody. Really, I don't truly care for, because he doesn't like my people that I really care for, you know? So it's like, I'm going to be honest, season 16 to me is like, people hate on 15 for the racism and stuff and say that it almost ruined Big Brother or whatever. No, season 16 is when Big Brother went to die. Because every season since then is new school, and I hate it. I hate it. So. Season
15, I believe, I think Devon or some outside house guest said, and I think I've said it before, season 15 would have been a great season had the racism not been
a part thing, of it.
Because you have people like Amanda, you have people like Aaron, Helen, like, you have so many people that were dominant in the game. And then even, like, the people that weren't as good, like Spencer and Gina Marie and Judd, won competitions. Spencer didn't just, like, not win anything.
He won competitions. Victoria, but he was close.
Gina Marie won 2 HOHs, and those HOHs, one of them was like getting out Amanda and McCrae.
Yeah.
And, you know, people like Jesse, Jeremy, Caitlin, like, even just, like, their dynamic, like, of being, like, the mean girls. Like, I wish it wasn't the racist girls, but, like...
It was just the mean girls.
Yeah, that would have been such a... Like, we had the only thing I will say about 15...
we could have brought into All-Stars.
But the one thing I will say about 15...
because of the racism stuff.
The 15 was when the unanimous vote started becoming a thing, which
was annoying. But it really sat in more season 16.
Yeah.
Like, 15 introduced it, and 16, like, solidified it as this is what we do. And that sucked.
The only reason 15 solidified it was because of how bad the blind sides were week 1 and 2 with David and Nick.
Yeah. Well, I also just, like, honestly, season 15 is the last time they had food comps and stuff. Like...
That's, like, the last old school season.
It is. I don't care. It is. I think people say 14, but I say 15 for sure. For sure 15. But...
Because also 15 was using the old set.
Mm-hmm.
And 16 and till this season was using, like, the new set. and like the new setup. The only thing I will say that is new school about 15 was the jury moved from 7 to 9 people.
Yeah.
And I believe in other countries it's now 9, like kind of everywhere, just because they have more cast, like more like a bigger cast. But I will say there's something about a 7-person jury that makes it like that much more like tighter of like I need to get the votes, and like it's just less people to have to worry about. Because like 7 jury members, like I didn't see shit about David. I didn't see shit about like literally anyone. Like I can remember the juries like from the older seasons because there's not 9 people, there's 7.
About. Yeah.
Season 10, you have, Libra in the house, and then April, then Ollie, and then Michelle, and then Keisha, like all coming in, and like you get to spend time with all of those people, whereas in the newer seasons it's like, oh, first person, and then the next 2 people because of a double, and then the next 2 people, and then, oh, the last people are all talking for the round table jury. Yeah. It's like, okay, I don't really...
It's almost like unnecessary. But yeah, I mean, we could go on and on and on, but honestly, I think it's time to shut down Big Brother 22. All Stars, and returning people, we are going whatever you want to call it.
We're going to announce our new Big Brother season that we're going to be covering, which is for all of our... all of the Canadian people watching. We are going to be reviewing the All-Star season from Canada, which is Big Brother 5.
Which I'm excited because I've only seen parts of like the first season of Big Brother Canada.
We will review.
Scotty has seen.
I have seen season 1 and I've seen season 5 before from Big Brother Canada. So it's going to be interesting to have the different views. I hope he doesn't give away anything. I will not spoil anything.
But yeah, stay tuned for that because it'll be coming. But you know what to do since it's coming, and summer will be back around the next corner, and we'll be doing Big Brother again. So like, comment, share, subscribe.